I'm Robert with Knowmium, and we're taking a look at Projector.com, a free website that allows us to design visual aids, slides, and slide decks, but it also allows us to collaborate with people around the world if we invite them to our slide decks, and it allows us to present live. That's what you're seeing right now. You're seeing Projector.com from a participant's point of view. We are going to take a look at the administrator point of view and how to use this website in just a moment. But as a presenter, if we go to the link, we can see everything that the facilitator has designed. The facilitator can move the cursor, there's text, there's shapes, there's built-in stock photographs, stock video, stock GIFs. There's also other tools like line tools. There's effects like the bubble effect, as well as shadows, borders, blurring, lots of things we can do here. But one of the great things about Projector.com is the ability to share with other people as we are designing it and editing it. So I can add people by email, or I can get the link and just send that to people. They can get on board and they can make the changes that they want to make. And the other great thing is it allows the host to share a live session where they're controlling the slides, they're controlling the pointer that you see on the screen, but they can also turn on their mic. The audience members can turn on their mic. They can talk live. However, only the host has those camera functions available. So let's jump over to the admin view and see how this free website works. Now we are at the administrator's screen of Projector.com, where we can create and edit slides. And if you see at the top, we could view the slides as an attendee would see them, and we can present them live just like you saw a moment ago. We aren't going to take a look at all the functions and features of Projector.com today, but we will take a look at the most important ones. A lot of the ones we won't look at are simply editing tools that we can use to manipulate text and objects on our screen. In the upper left, we could go back to the library to see the different slide decks we've created, or Projector.com likes to call those stories. We can also get help or edit our profile. On the far left, you can see the thumbnails that I've already created for the audience version you saw a moment ago, and I can go to any of those and I can edit those and move those around. But what I'm interested in is doing something new from scratch. So let's go to the very bottom and add a new scene. That's just a new slide. And I'll go ahead and I'll move that to the very bottom. Now, I love to make my own templates, my own designs, but if you're somebody who wants or needs templates built in, take a look at the very bottom. Projector.com comes with a lot of templates. And I mean a lot of templates. And they have some different uses. This one for Pitch Your Product, you can see the preview. This is the recommended flow for pitching a product. But if you were to choose this, of course, you could change the colors, you could change the font, you could change the images to fit the product that you are actually pitching. But we are not going to take a look at those templates. We're going to start from scratch. Let's start at the top. We'll move right, and it will take us into the editing tools. So first, how do we add items? Here's text. We could add heading. We could add paragraph. Excellent. If we move to the right, there's images. Now, of course, you can upload your own, whether it's your own logo or images that you found on the internet or even took yourself. But one of the great things about Projector is they have Unsplash and they have Shutterstock. So I've searched for dog. Let's just find this cute dog. When it gets added to the screen, just like any slide design program, we can change that size, we can move that around, and of course there are other editing options we'll see in just a moment. You'll also find videos, GIFs, stickers, and icons built in, and all of this is free. There's shapes. You can add any shape that you'd like, and once it's there, you of course can manipulate it on the screen however you wish. And there's also some drawing and arrow tools, so you can build whatever you'd like to build. And once that is done, you can again move it around. You can manipulate it to fit your needs. Now, you'll notice at the top, behind me, I'll move myself over here a bit, there are some editing tools that are at the top. So let's go back to our heading. This gives me the option to change my fonts, the font style. Let's just go with this funky one right here. There we go. And if we go down to this other font, we could change the size. We can make that slide there, or of course, if we know what size we want, we can simply go to, let's say, 75. There we go. We can change the color if I want green. And another thing is, you'll notice here the color palette has a lot of different options, so you really can find the exact color that you're looking for, including those color codes at the bottom. You can continue using outlines if you'd like, which some of these are not the best because I have made this completely unreadable, so we're going to get rid of that. But you can again change color of those different outlines. You can also, of course, change alignment, spacing. You can use bullets and numbers. You can add shadows. Let's add a quick shadow to this text. I'm going to blur that shadow just a little bit. And I'm going to show where I want that shadow to be. So right now the shadow's in the upper right of the text. You can see that there. And if we go back here, we can make that shadow go to the bottom left. So as you can already see, without even going to the expanded editing tools, there's a lot we can already do. Now that we've seen some of the basic editing options that are on the top row of the administrator view, let's take a look at expanding the tools. On the right side, you'll see these tools really expand, and you can change the size of the presentation. You can flip items and the entire slide horizontally or vertically, but you can also add a layout grid if you want to definitely line things up perfectly, also changing the number of rows and columns that you have. But let's get rid of that grid. And let's take a look at this heading font to see what some of these advanced editing tools do. We can rotate that up to 360. We can change the transparency or the opacity of that. We can also continue changing the different font style. And if there's other bold or light options, they would be here. We can use underline, we can use strike through. We could make this a bullet list. And we could continue changing the different colors, giving it backgrounds, highlights, the alignment. There's a lot of things we can do in this advanced formatting tool on the right side. But what I'd like to also look at is an object. Let's go back to this dog, and we'll go back here at the top. We can, again, rotate anything we need. We can change the corners of this photo. If we don't like those square edges, we can simply make them rounded, but I'm going to put them back to normal. And again, opacity, transparency, especially if we wanted to put something over that. And one thing, the undo button there at the top, or Control Z works well. Going back to our dog friend here, there are some visual effects we could add. If I want to use bulge, it makes the dog look very strange, but also I can increase the strength of that. Notice the photo moving, and also the radius of that. How centered or wide or narrow do I want that bulge to be? And then, of course, just like the shadow earlier, I can offset and design where do I want to put that bulge. I'll make his ear look very large there. Going back, we'll get rid of that effects box, but I can add it back at any time. And let's say I wanted to pinch. We'll leave him right there. Moving on down, we can set different backgrounds if we need to, but we're not going to mess with that now. We just want to take a quick look at some of these options. We can choose an outline. We could choose the color of the outline. Let's say that I wanted to use an orange. Again, I can go back here and find the exact orange that I want, and I can add that to my very strange dog picture now. Going back here, we can change the tint or the color, which I don't want to do. darken it, lighten it, keep it as normal. We're going to turn that off. There's different filters if we want to go grayscale, or how much grayscale do we actually want. There's the different blur effects we could add. We don't want to do that though. Our dog is strange enough as is. And of course, shadows can be added to anything we want, changing the blur of that shadow, and of course changing the position on that XY axis. We could add links, so when people are clicking an object, if we were to export this as a PDF, for example, it will take them to the different links, and of course there's the alignment tools. So this is very basic, what I've done, but using all of these effects really can allow you to quickly, for free, online, create really what is best for your presentation or for your documents. You'll notice at the top we have share, and this is where I can add email, or if I already have somebody on my account, I can add their name, or I can simply get the link and I can send that to people. They can get on here and they can help me edit, adding their ideas, adding their images, or if I do the first step, I can send the next step to the next person in that process. The export functions, there's PDF, there's images and video, or simply just video. And as I mentioned, and as you saw earlier, we can present live. We can allow voice conversation or not if we don't want people to turn on their microphones. But I like to allow that because I love communication. I can also require passwords because once I create this session and there's a link, that link can go to anybody. So if one person sends it to their friend, anybody can join that. Knowing if they have a password, it makes it a little bit more secure, where people hopefully won't be giving out the password if it is something private. But that's projector.com. Like any software, play with it, experiment with it, and see if it's something that's useful for you. I find this easier than some other online format and image websites simply because it works much more for me like a PowerPoint program versus a website that's forcing me to do things. For example, some other websites, if I add an image, it might try to force it in a box or in a certain position on the screen. Projector.com, from what I've seen, allows me to do whatever I want. And if I need some help, there's a help button at the bottom. I haven't used that, but they said that they are very responsive. So if you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you. You can find us at Knowmium.com, and you can find a lot of other free resources on our website, including other tutorials. Have a great day.